Hi everybody. Today I would like to share some experiences about teaching Chinese to English speakers. I have been teaching Chinese to some Philippine students for a couple of weeks when I was in China. Now let's begin. This is a photo of my students with their writing teacher. During the weeks of learning Chinese, they all did great jobs. At the same time, I learned a lot of things from them, as well as bunches of useful skills about how to teach Chinese by another language. In Chinese, the method we use to read characters is called pinyin. It looks like the English words, but we pronounce them in a different way. Here comes to 3 different characters. They all pronounce ta. Since all of my students speak English, they prefer read pinyin in the English way. When they saw the ta, they always pronounce it like da, which is not correct. I have to correct them again and again, but they still make the same mistake. After several times, I found that the pronunciation exercise would become more easier to memorize with games. Almost everyone agrees that repeat is boring. I recommend to apply the fast word game into my classes to avoid this and draw their attention to teaching. I wrote some Chinese characters they have learned on the blackboard, especially the ones which are difficult to read. They were required to stand up one by one and read out the words very quickly. The students enjoy themselves in the games, and they focus on my talking all the time. During this teaching period, I found that the Philippine students are more active than they are in my imagination, but they still have their own opinions on how their class going on when a boring teacher only let them to do what they don't like to do. This is about another story. This happened when I told them writing Chinese characters. What I realized is that they did not like to write Chinese character other than their names, but writing plays an important role in each language. My students often confused with that why a mouse and a horse represent a symbol of question. When they have the similar question, I realize I have made a big mistake. I should introduce some of the rules about how Chinese characters become what they like nowadays before I teach them to write, like what is the history for the word or the special components. After that class, I can't stop thinking about this mistake. It is critical to show the history first before teaching any rules or knowledge. Also, Chinese and English are totally different with each other. Chinese characters express the meaning of itself directly by its 2 or 3 components without showing any pronunciation, whereas people can read an unknown English word easily and exactly. For example, it means the dragon in Chinese. In this figure, the character looks like a painting of a dragon. That is the art value of Chinese and Chinese culture. Chinese character is originated from painting to express the meaning of anything in the world. You can understand the meaning of the Chinese character when you see it, while you can only pronounce an English word when you see it. What interests me most is the discussion section among the whole teaching process. When I told a Japanese student, he shared a different opinion of paying bills. He said that in Japan, people will not pay other bills without specific reasons. Otherwise, it means something rude to others that will make him angry if someone do this to him. It is a funny issue because people often pay for others to further their friendship and show how generous he is in China. It is an impressive experience to share different cultures and customers with friends or students from different countries. It is a wonderful way to compare and contrast our distinctive behaviors and habits when faced to the similar situation. Only the various cultures and customers can only produce the colorful civilization. Based on the Western students' answers, it can be obviously figured out the sense of individual has been emphasized all the time. In Western countries, couples will split their bills when they hang out. However, the situation will merely happen in China. Chinese boys will pay for the bills while girls do not have to care about this. When I talked about friends in the class, I and my students decide to do something unique, learning a Chinese song named Friends. After the class, one of my students sent me an email that they have the same song named Friends but in Tagalog, their local language. So we mix the lyrics and it becomes a harmonious and funny class. This is also a picture of a student singing a Chinese song. After the Friends class, I asked them to listen to some other Chinese songs. To my surprise, the second day, this boy insisted to sing a Chinese song in front of the class, and I am sure he enjoyed it a lot. This successful class shows that, comparing with learning from the textbook, most students prefer to learn from doing a science topic presentation, play a singing show, or even act a personal dialogue between partners. They will show more aspects of themselves in this practice. Totally speaking, Asian cultures share much more common points than Western customers. Japanese, Korean, and Chinese cultures all mention some similar behaviors in same situation. For example, when I ask them to make a dialogue about picking mistakes from the teachers they don't like, which drive them crazy due to they seldom do this before. It is important to show the culture behind the language. From this angle, I decided to let students making some Chinese traditional things. I have planned 2 different classes about doing Chinese traditional things, and the students love them. Here is 2 things we were doing: Chinese note and paper cut. As you saw in the picture, we have told the students to make Chinese note when it is mentioned in the lesson. The students are so active that they all successfully made Chinese note in the end. Through this event, they can not only tell something about Chinese note, but also they can really make it. These are the photos of students doing paper cut. I have told the student to make paper cut about the right double happiness, a Chinese traditional logo of getting married. I told the student to cut paper. They like it and become more willing to know more things about Chinese traditional wedding. Besides the Chinese note and paper cut, there are still a lot of events that the students like very much and can be used in the classroom, such as the Taiji Quan, traditional painting, and the Peking opera. I'm sure it would be a very successful class if these events can be done in the classroom. This sentence is translated from a very famous old Chinese saying, which means, if you know your enemy very well, then you will surely be the winner. What I want to say is that, if you want to be the great teacher of teaching language or culture, you must know your student first, and it is important to figure out what is necessary and what is useless. What do the students want and what they don't like? Put the knowledge into the things students are interested in, and you will see how amazing their progresses are.